everybody, my name is Jessica Holyfield and I'm a professional dance choreographer and dance educator based out of the southeast of the United States, and we are going to be taking a look at the second round of the No Limit Challenge from Kingdom Legendary War. So these are going to be all of my analysis that I did of each individual group before I took a look at the episode to see what the results were. And so keep in mind, a lot of my feedback is not only going to be tailored to what I have already seen, but also it will be refined as I did watch the episode. So without further ado, let's get into it. And finally, we have the boys. They're doing Monster Stormborn. Oh, that's right. They shot and it was like a little color eclipse situation. Monster EXO. Doesn't it feel like they're in similar costumes that they were in Catching Fire? Dope. This is so interesting. Like, here's what I find interesting. With the challenge, because it's a 2-rounder, it does feel like with a lot of these routines, it's just not quite hitting it to the degree of the production, or it's it kind of felt like everybody got cut off on their budget. Like, all their budgets got cut in half is what it felt like. Except for ATs. That's what it feels like. I mean, I don't know. Okay. Because this one feels very similar to how Stray Kids one felt. In the terms of just, it's the content. I mean, I feel like they had more commitment than iKON did. And it also felt like the snake in this one is in the same family as the tiger and iKON set as well. It's like I'm trying to wrap my head around what the concept of this was, right? So it says Monster Stormborn. I don't know the parentheses of like Stormborn, that part. But I know Monsters EXO. Like, that's what they covered. Okay, let's talk about it. From the top. Low-key, I really liked the BOYZ set from I really liked their Dana Sole Mio. Like, I loved that. I also really liked their Ice and Fire set. Like, those were freaking dope. And then for me, it feels like we took a card or a play out of iKON's book, but that's not a book I want you taking plays from right now. iKON needs to figure out their own niche right now, but it all stems from the teams. I don't know what's going on with the teams behind these groups this time. It kind of felt like a lot of groups gave up this challenge, but also, I mean, why wouldn't you? Especially after seeing the monstrosity of how the last challenge was ranked. So, I mean, that wouldn't surprise me if we were just taking a completely different approach, because we're not caring as much anymore, which in that case, if they're able to do these performances healthily and not put so much weight of competency on them and their ability as a group on these performances, I think that's more power to them for that. Also, side note, I have a feeling I recognize one of the female dancers. She looks like Taryn Chung. She's under YGX now. I think that's her right there. She's with YGX, and she was with GRV for a long time, and GRV is like really heavy hitting choreo, so it wouldn't surprise me if she's affiliated in some way, but I digress. Pulse on that. Yeah. So I like how they set this up. Like, this whole beginning was freaking intense. It was very intense. Getting it through, you have Q, my Where's Waldo. We found him. Boom. And they build it through. I think it's really dope how it feels like we're building our set as we slide through. The intention and purpose of it, I'm assuming the snake is the monster, or they're talking about themselves, and the snake's an imagery of that, because Sunwoo comes out of the snake at some point. We walk through. Nice. They hop down. It feels like a freaking galaxy. I think the LEDs on this are dope. That dee brr, I like that. Brr, over. Cool. Like that. That little crazy boom. So you can tell this is, a lot of this choreo is EXO, and they're very clean when they're doing EXO choreo, and some of it, they beefed up the syncopation, the musicality of it, and I really like that. It is a remix too. Yeah, bringing it through dee. So I guess this could honestly feel like we're just going to do what we do best, which is dance. More power to them for that. If that's what they wanted to go for, that's fine. Conceptually, I feel the environment. I don't feel like they're pursuing a storyline as much as other groups are. And if they are, it may have to do with the snake and how you see the snake on the visual. And you can tell whenever they're there, they do look like legitimately concerned about the snake way more than iKON was about being transported from their room into a jungle where people are gonna try to kill him. Like, I felt like there was zero commitment there. Here, there was some sort of commitment happening to the LED screen and then seeing it in real life, but that snake took up, I think, a bit too many 8 counts of time in this set for the sake of what it is. But also, all of these routines are like 5 minutes long. I'm curious as to why they need to be that long. I wonder, like, we could have get the same storyline on all of these across in 3.5 minutes, which is what most of the challenges have called for. So I'm curious as to why 5 minutes is this length that we're going for this particular challenge. I don't feel like it's as necessary, but, you know, they didn't ask me my opinion, but... yeah, all this right here, it's fun. I like the choices. Choreography looks freaking dope. They're taking it through a nice little wave to transition the weight to the center, building it up in isolation. DD, great tension, rotating it around, turning it around. Then you have people, you know, that are kind of frozen or building up energy from the top level. Nice pulse. Boom, 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 boom. Looks great. I like that right there. Notice we have levels represented just from people being on various different levels of platforms, but also where their positions of their arms are going. I love that. That framed really well. Got it. Bring it through. Boom, D-D-D. And then they take the feet and they create a nice little, like, not Charleston, but it's like a really isolated Charleston. And then once again, we're doing a lot of these types of influences. We've already kind of seen something similar to that, but on the left side, and now we're seeing it on the right side. So it feels like we're repeating fingerprints or dynamics or sequences, but just in subtly different ways. But we're still projecting unison forward. And I think that's where, that would be my note too, is that what we're noticing focal point wise in the choreo are things that are already starting to repeat, and we're about a minute in and it's a 5-minute routine. So that would be just something to be mindful of when you do choose to repeat moves. Cool. And another thing just to be mindful of in general is not making your movement. Well, I know I had the thought in my head and then it escaped. Just bring it back, get it back, get it back, get it back. Oh my gosh, why did I forget it? Maybe it wasn't that important. Anyway, yeah, I can't remember it. Maybe I'll think about it again. I don't know what happened. That boom, boom, and they bring it over. I like that choice, cool. Da 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 da. So I like that, having the every other. People drop and then you have those come up to complement Julian. That was nice. I love that choice. Boom, and we bleed it over. If the boys are anything, they're clean. Like, I really like the cleanliness of this. It helps us appreciate it. Once again, it feels very environmental. Doom, 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 doom. Really like that. Boom, boom, and then we go. We're pulsing. No, this is the way. We're building it up. Boom, and then we're here. That was nice. We peeled it to the outside. Nice. Call me monster. Look at how clean this is. Nice. Yes. Yep. They're expanded out. Nice. So this is all EXO choreo right here. I like that, where they got half of them marching over, really fun. Then you have it create a really fun transition, making it a little weave between the two, making a fun militant X, everybody being nice and stoic and still. I appreciate that from our dancers. Meaning that's okay. Like that, boom, boom. Accent, and then of course you have levels with the arms, and then we create nice different level choices in that moment. That was cool. And it kind of feels like we're traveling in a mine or something. Nice pyrotechnics, look cool. So environmentally, I mean, we have minimal props in play right now, and it feels very like I'm in the desired environment they want me to be in, and that's really strategic on the LED side of things. That's great. Yeah, it doesn't feel like their concept is a storyline. I mean, it kind of started feeling that way with the snake, but it honestly just kind of felt like we're just gonna vibe out to a song, and here's our concept we're going with, in the sense of like we're setting the tone with our concept. We're not telling you a functional story within it, where it's like the start and the finish have an Easter egg all throughout, if that makes sense. And I think there's beauty to be had in those too, like if you just have a theme. So not really a concept, a theme. That's what it feels. A dystopian theme, using the song Monster to tell their dystopian theme. But here, I mean, about halfway through, you can tell there is some sort of storyline involved. That monster, boom. You still have the boys right there in the center, and then you have one of them, it's Kevin, is what they said. I like that part, but notice it was a bit difficult to see that moment because you have a lot of people in front of him, but they also cut the camera. So there's like little choices like that in the choreography that I feel like could have been a really cool moment to see, but we just didn't get to see it. And the boys are still, I mean, if you really think about it, we're almost about 2 minutes in. Besides that beginning transition into the verses, from the chorus to the dance breakdown, we're hanging out with your dancers on the outside and you have the boys on the inside. And so there's a lot of, it's starting to do this right now, starting to plateau in the formation department. But also I was already noting some overlapping fingerprints of some of their choices, of their syncopation on the musicality, or how the tone and tonal color and timbre was being established in the remix of the track, and they were hitting it familiarly. And if you're not going to showcase a variety of formations or dynamics or levels, I mean, they do showcase levels for sure, but they do add-ons, they do ripples, they do, I mean, they do have a variety of those things, and they do like more militant transitions and people being still. So of course, just me naming off so many things that are happening, but an underlying factor is formationally, we're not really, or staging wise, the boys are not really moving from the center point like you're normally used to seeing whenever you have that camera pan around and they're creating different storylines. It kind of feels like we're focusing, if this was a live audience, it would make more sense why this feels more centered to the front, but honestly, I feel like we're not really using a ton of camera op or camera opportunities like we're used to seeing. So part of me feels like something's changed with the boys. It could be a mindset thing. It could be the team itself. Somebody different is working with them for this challenge. That I don't know. I know they have a behind the scenes, so we're probably going to learn more there. But if you want to go ahead and kind of let me know in advance before I get to the episode or this, that, and the other, I'm very intrigued on that because this doesn't feel the same in terms of what we're going for from other aspects of their other performances. I'm not saying that this is less than their Road to Kingdom performances or what they've done so far. It just feels like they took a different direction, and I think there's beauty to be had in that. Because at the end of the day, no one's getting eliminated. No one should get eliminated. And we're here to express and enjoy ourselves. If they wanted to pursue Monster by EXO in this way and they feel like they did a good job, then more power to them. That's great. Because also remember, the boys were the ones that set the tone for the expectation of how performances on the show were supposed to work. So, I mean, would we have expected something like this from them in Road to Kingdom first couple of challenges? Yes. So is it a bit anticlimactic to see them do this type of concept in this degree of not execution in terms of competency of the physical demand of it, but there's not a lot of other gimmicks or other things in play like we're used to seeing? I think that's okay. You know, is that going to work against them? Possibly. I mean, you saw they freaking knocked it out of the park with their previous challenge, but they got last. So I feel that for me, I'd kind of be in a position with them of being pretty downtrodden and not really wanting to push the envelope or trying to go more, and it's just not working, you know? And so I'm very curious about the behind the scenes for this group out of all of them because of just how unfair theirs was. Same with Stray Kids. I mean, this really didn't feel like they were scored appropriately for their sets they brought, but also it's Mnet, whatever. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, I'm glad that we're in a healthier place. But that's just my general note. It does feel very underwhelming in comparison to what we've seen from them before, but it doesn't, I think that's okay. Like, I'm kind of indifferent to that, honestly. Bringing it through, I'm so curious. All of this does remind me of, like, if that is in fact Taryn Chung and she was a part of this in some way, I can see this be, you know, influenced by other choreographers and not by Baek Koo-young. You know, but I mean, I could be wrong, but seeing from the boys and then they branch and expand it out and ripple, that was cool. Nice accent from Q, that boom, boom, that was cool. I love that they're bringing it back in because you have a lot of these choices in play. And they branch it through, cool. But once again, it kind of just feels like movement, you know, for the sake of it, angsty movement or movement with like intensity behind it, but a bit, not underdeveloped, but it doesn't feel like there's meaning and functionality behind the impact that they're making, if that makes sense. It just kind of feels like movement for the sake of doing it for that part of the music, not we're using this to justify our integrity of what we're going for in the environment of the theme. But I mean, they kind of are, but it's just they're not what's the word? It's just, here's the thing. This is just so fast. Just in a complete nutshell with pretty much all of these, there's just something about all of them that just feel a little off in some way, shape, or form. But like, I'm not really used to that at this point with this season, because the previous challenge, not with the collabs, but like the challenge before, I didn't feel this way about most of them. I think all of them did a very good job. But this one, it kind of feels like we reverted back to that intro stage where some people, it kind of felt like we didn't get the memo of what the show was about or what the show expectations were. And I'm, once again, not projecting that on the boys. It just kind of feels like across the board, there's just some facet about choices that are made that I'm like, I'm very intrigued as to why that choice was made when we could have very easily made a different choice and it would have been just as much impactful, but more efficient to the entire theme of what you are claiming to go for. So, I don't know. This is making it hard for me. That's our first, like, major camera change outside of the intro that we're seeing there. There's subtlety. Then we have dance feature. Cool. I like that choice. I like that. And then they do a little slide through. Building up the energy. Nice. Jacob. Nice high note. Crazy. Cool. And they're all on the ground. And he has a nice stoic approach to really hitting that high note. Blackout, here we go. Now we have a projection, and we see them, you know, we see their shadow on the projection. I don't mind that, it's different. I like that, ding, ding, ding. We've seen this fingerprinted from previous choreo they've done before. The pulse on that. Boom, cool. Ding, ding, ding. Notice that they're bleeding up, using a lot of wrist rotations, a lot of those choices to make that moment, make them more moments. Cool explosion. They drop out of it. But at this point, it does kind of feel all of this. It's, oh man, like, guys, I'm just being honest. This is getting pretty hard for me. Because I'm seeing just what I've just already talked about. I feel like I keep bringing it up and bringing it up because that's really the main thing that is my general note about this entire routine, is it feels like this the whole time. But we're trying so hard to have these really polyrhythmic, difficult, complex moments to elevate the routine through dancing. But it's either how the choreography is structured. There's not a lot of, you know, formations. It feels like there's not the boys' fault at all. Kind of feels like the team this time kind of just did this, if that makes sense. And so they're just, okay, let's learn all this choreo, and then, okay, we'll have some people expand their hands high and low. It doesn't feel like we have purpose behind our movement this time in why we're making a syncopated choice outside of just the music is asking for it, I guess, is my in general note here. And I'm not used to feeling that way looking at a boys' routine. I normally feel like we have some depth behind it, but this one doesn't feel like we're diving any past surface level. And I feel like a couple of them are kind of feeling like that. And being honest, it could be Mnet's fault because of how they structured the show and made all of these groups feel with how this is being scored. And so we can't negate that either, you know? So if that's really the case, then hey, do you know? It's not going to matter how these are ranked because it's never going to go the way that I think it's going to be the most objective anyway, so. And they're right there. So there's your snake. It is hard to kind of see what's going on with what they're doing in movement-wise. They drop down. The snake's gotten really close. They look a bit concerned, and then the zoom in here. There's your snake. Now, does it feel a bit empty? Yes, it does. We don't have anybody there. We got the red screens. You got the snake here. You got a couple dancers. You had more dancers in the chorus than you did here. I kind of feel like having everybody there would have been helpful in creating more fullness. Because look how long this takes. A whole 8 count. Literally about 2 full 8 counts of just a snake and just different camera shots to it. It really feels like I don't know what happened, but something has changed between the last challenge and this challenge with the boys. I swear to you. I swear to you. It's so different. Sunwoo just said, let me open up the mouth of the snake. So now he's like a literal coming out of a monster's mouth. And he threw it. Boom. Da, 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 da. Cool. Yeah. You know what? Y'all hold on. I normally don't dig on the analysis, but it's so different here. And so I didn't watch the choreography behind. That's going to be a separate reaction entirely, but I did glean the comments to see if they talked about choreo. A lot of them were saying that this is a performance that's memorable for the boys because they don't have any pressure to have to do a certain thing a certain way. I'm picking up on that, and I'm very happy that they're doing that because they're clean and it's passionate. I do feel like there's other things that the ball is getting dropped on, and a lot of it may have to do with the angles in which this is being shot at. I truly feel that way. So honestly, like I said, very intrigued on the behind the scenes of how this is going to be. Like, for real, for real. Anyway, but moving on from here, I didn't technically talk about the choreo because I was so trying to process what in the world, like I'm just trying to understand and connect what's going on here, right? Da, 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 da. Nice intensity, so you have your dancers branching in and branching out. Sunwoo's doing a great job of, he's done a fantastic job in stage presence. He really has. They've been consistent in that regard. Yeah, boom, boom, doo-doo-doo. Nice little transition over. Dope. Nice glitch effect. Dee-dee-dee, dee-dee-dee-dee. Cool. I like the subtlety of that. That was cool. Da-da-da. Yeah, boom, boom, boom. I like that choice. Doo-doo-doom. So really we're focusing on dance, and I think that's something that the boys have always done a very good job of emulating. Looks great. Doo-doo, boom. I really like that choice from our dancers. Da-da-da-da, ba-da-da-da. Great. Nice fullness from Eric, for sure. Then you have everybody come back in, so the format is very similar to what we saw in the first course. Do I think the boys care? No, I don't. You know, that's fine. It's absolutely fine. I really feel like this performance out of all of them is really like F you, Mnet. It's kind of what it feels like. I'll take it. I like it with the pyrotechnics going side to side. That was fun. Nice subtlety on this. Woo! Julian, okay. Then you have your dancers that have more masks on, you know, branching over to the side. Looks really cool. Then they're building up the energy. Boom, boom, boom. Nice. Yeah, ding, ding, ding. Once again, it feels very content dense. Honestly, it's fine. Branching it through. Boom and a boom. So I like how they go from side to side. They're clean through and through. I like that. Honestly, they're enjoying their time. I really see that. I'm really happy for them for that. Look at that. Boo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. Nice. That was cool. Boom, boom. And they go brrr. Nice percussion choice on that. Boom and boom. Like that choice too. And notice the fullness of that as well. I like the percussion on that too. When it comes to complexity, they definitely have the most complex choreo out of all of the groups, and they're the cleanest in the complexity too. So if we're going in isolation of dance, they win in that regard for sure. When it comes to the whole shebang of what Kingdom has turned into, is probably not going to score top 6 in certain aspects, but I would hope on the dance side they do get that. Because remember, we're all coming at it from how it's been built over the season, over the previous season, things like that. Now knowing what I know, because I did spoil it for myself, I think it was important for me to do that, of knowing that the boys truly didn't care about the results for this. I'm very appreciative that they went this route, because why not? Because they literally pulled out all the stops and tried something different, and they got a big FU from Mnet's format. And so this is them taking control back, if that makes sense. And I don't mind it. I really don't. I love it when a group goes for it in that way. Look at that. Yeah, Goya. You call me monster. Yeah, there's that. Creeping, creeping, creeping. Nice subtle finish on that. That background, that's freaking dope with that sun and the moon. Nice. The subtlety from News Nights. I love the vocals on that. And they all finish. And honestly, the prolonged finish here, where there's nothing extra happening. Same with the fact that even with the snake, like that snake took up 2 whole 8 counts. That ain't never happened on a boys stage before. I never had that degree of like plateaued screen time I've seen. But also it's like I'm so intrigued on this challenge and the behind the scenes from some of these groups. Wow. Thank you guys so much for taking the time to watch. If you want to see more of my analysis or perspective on any of these groups through their time on Kingdom Legendary War, I have some challenges that just could not make their way onto YouTube due to copyright, but they are on Patreon waiting for you, as well as full episode reactions to boot with refined feedback. So once again, my name is Jess, and I will catch you on the flip side. Bye.